Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the possibility of the Buccaneers adding a fifth quarterback to this roster, and it is because of the injury that was sustained to quarterback Michael Pratt. Now, for those of you who do not know, Michael Pratt started the training camp on the Buccaneers physically unable to perform list, the PUP list. This is because he is dealing with a lower back injury. Now, on July 27th, when asked on the status of quarterback Michael Pratt, Todd Bowles said that he's got a lower back injury. Right now, it's week to week, which is, pretty severe in my opinion, right? That means deciding on if a guy is good to go on a day-to-day basis versus a week-to-week basis is a very big difference, in my opinion, okay? I don't know when that return will be, but he's pretty sore back there, okay? Now, again, that is some, pretty big words, let's say, right, in terms of severity of week to week. Don't know when that return will be, but he's pretty sore back there. So it doesn't seem like we're getting any indication based on this quote that Michael Pratt will be back anytime soon. Then when asked on if he feels good about having three active quarterbacks on the roster during training camp, those three quarterbacks being quarterback Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, and Connor Bazelak, undrafted free agent out of Bowling Green, Todd Bowles said, "We've talked about it. We may add one. We've been looking. We'll see what happens depending on who gets hurt and how much room we've got." So right now the Buccaneers are at max capacity for their roster right now. Now, I do believe that they do like Michael Pratt and they would want him to still be in that 90-man roster going forward until he is fully healthy. So maybe the Buccaneers cut a little bit of fat, so to speak, on the cornerback room or some other type of room to bring in a fifth quarterback. But what would those options be? Because the Buccaneers are looking. Right? Todd Bowles has said, hey, we've been looking. We haven't seen them bring in any quarterbacks for a workout or anything along those lines, but we can kind of do our own investigative research here and look at some options. So firstly, at overthecap.com, you have these options: Carson Wentz, CJ Beathard, Teddy Bridgewater, Jeff Driscoll, Tyler Huntley, Ian Book, Jaren Hall, and Carter Bradley. Now, out of all these options that are available right here, when I think of the context of what the Bucs may be looking for, guys like Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyler Huntley, CJ Beathard just don't fit that mix, okay? Because again, based on the context of the quote here, where it's like, hey, basically, we want a fourth quarterback, just to get an extra arm in there, just to have an extra camp arm in there, for lack of a better way of putting it. Those guys don't fit the mold of Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyler Huntley, even CJ Beathard. Those guys don't fit that mold of, hey, you're just going to be here for a couple months and then you're gone, right? Those are guys that would probably be battling for a backup quarterback job somewhere, or a guy that would sign if your backup quarterback is injured. That's where those signings make sense. However, in the free agency market for guys like Jeff Driscoll, former Washington Commanders quarterback, Ian Book is in that mix, Jaren Hall and Carter Bradley. Those are four guys who are technically veterans that you can bring in and say, hey, you're going to be tossed around the football for a couple of months here. Maybe we'll keep you on the practice squad. Maybe we won't. Let's see what happens. But go out there, get some tape for yourself. Make some connections while you can as a fourth quarterback on a training camp roster and go from there. Those would be four guys that could be some options there. I did also take the liberty of taking a look at the undrafted free agent market and quarterbacks who are still left. There are four quarterbacks that are left that are worth talking about, at least out of the 20 quarterbacks that were on Pro Football Focus's 2025 draft rankings. These are the four quarterbacks that are still here. Donovan Smith, not the offensive tackle who used to play for the Bucs, the quarterback, 6'5", 230 pounds, had some good moments while playing at Texas Tech and Houston, his best year being in 2023 when he had 22 passing touchdowns and 13 interceptions. He also has some good rushing ability in there as well. He had 428 rushing yards in that 2023 season as well. Good prototypical size. You have also then got quarterback Hudson Card coming in out of, well, it was originally Texas, but then Purdue. He is 23 years old. He is 6'2", 200 pounds, bit more of that West Coast style build. But his best year was in 23 when he had 2,387 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He is another undrafted quarterback. Will Rogers is another name that comes up, 6'2", 205. He played for Mississippi State and Washington in his career. He'd never played with Jalen McMillan, but his best years came in 2021 and in 2022, where in those 2 years alone, he had 8,713 passing yards, 71 passing touchdowns, 17 interceptions. So 2 very strong years there from Will Rogers. Finally, you have KJ Jefferson coming in, a guy coming out of Arkansas and UCF, so kind of local UCF. Shout out UCF. He is a guy who only played a few games for UCF in 2024. His best year came in 22 for Arkansas, where he had 24 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. The year before, 21, he had 21 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, so 45 touchdowns to 9 interceptions in those 2 years. Pretty darn impressive resume during his time at Arkansas. 6'4", 266 pounds. So those are all of the undrafted guys, NFL free agents. Why not, for the fun of it, why don't we take a look at some UFL quarterbacks? Could the Buccaneers maybe take a look into the UFL? Well, we do have a few options here. Firstly, Jordan Ta'amu led the UFL in passing touchdowns last year with 17, far and away the number 1, as the number 2 option only had, I believe it was 9. So Jordan Ta'amu was far and away the best quarterback back there in terms of passing touchdowns at the UFL. I'm curious who had the most passing yards, because it was not Ta'amu. He was number 2. So Luis Perez was number 1 there. You've also got Bryce Perkins, who's an interesting name, former LA Ram. Kellen Mond, former Minnesota Viking, was actually in the same draft class, by the way, as Kyle Trask, so that's kind of crazy. I remember there was a time where I wanted the Bucs to be interested in Bryce Perkins. Maybe they could bring him in now. He actually did play a couple of games for the Rams in the past. Did he start a playoff game for the Rams? I cannot remember off the top of my head. He started one game, he lost, but he had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in 22. He's 28 years old, so again, that's another guy where it's like, hey dude, we need somebody to be here and throw passes. Max Duggan, former played in the national championship. Matt Corral, former Carolina Panther, is there. Kevin Hogan, shout out Kevin Hogan, I suppose. Anthony Brown is there. Geez, a lot of blasts from the past, so to speak, huh? So yeah, there are a few different names. Jordan Ta'amu might be interesting. I don't know who won the 2025 UFL MVP. Maybe it was Bryce Perkins. There you go. Bryce Perkins won it. So hey, maybe you could bring in a UFL MVP, Bryce Perkins. I don't know. Just an interesting name there. Maybe you bring in the touchdown winner of Jordan Ta'amu from the UFL. But again, all of this is just like, hey bro, we need an extra arm. Come in, see what you got, right? So like Bryce Perkins, you've got Jordan Ta'amu from the UFL, Donovan Smith, Hudson Card, Will Rogers, KJ Jefferson from the undrafted lists, and then realistically, Jeff Driscoll, Ian Book, Jaron Hall, and Carter Bradley. If I've given you guys enough names, I feel like I have. So let me know what you guys think about all these options down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.